Welcome to Makkah, the sacred heart of Islam and the destination of millions who come for Umrah and Hajj. Before entering the holy city, every pilgrim must pass through a Miqat, a boundary where you enter Ihram and make your intention. We went through 3 of the Miqat points, so we will focus on those here. Miqāt Wādī Muḥarram on the route from the city of Taif is part of the Miqat known as Qarn al-Manāzil. Pilgrims traveling from Taif stop here to enter Ihram before continuing their journey to the sacred city of Makkah. There are clean bathrooms and stalls where you can buy things you may need for your stay. Dhul, Hulaifah, also known as Masjid Abyar Ali, is the Miqat for anyone traveling from Medinah to Makkah. It's the place where Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, entered Ihram for Hajj, making it one of the most historically significant Miqats. This is about 12 kilometers from the Prophet's Mosque, and it's quite large and maintained. There are a lot of stores where you can buy all the things that you need for Ihram. For those who are already located inside Makkah and wishes to perform an additional Umrah, they have to travel to Masjid Aisha. There are taxis available outside of Masjid Haram where you can take about 30 minutes more or less with traffic and reach Masjid Aisha. This is also known as Masjid at-Tanim.
Hello, kitty cat. Oh, you're scared. He's scared.
This is the Miqat for anyone already inside of Makkah. This mosque marks the boundary of the Haram zone, making it the closest and most convenient Miqat for residents and pilgrims alike. Its name comes from the time when Aisha radiallahu was instructed by the Prophet, peace be upon him, to enter Ihram from here for an additional Umrah. Today the mosque is beautifully expanded with large prayer halls and clean changing areas.
Some center. I don't know what they do here. So in this place they give a little booklet with the rites of Hajj and Umrah. The bathrooms are over there.
It is accessible by buses, taxis. Taxis are the most convenient than buses. Masjid Aisha has a serene and well-maintained lawn right outside the mosque, and the greenery adds a refreshing touch, especially during cooler times of the day. And what makes it even more charming is the presence of friendly cats that roam around the lawn, making it a welcoming and homely atmosphere for visitors.
Good boy.
We came here after staying a few days already in the Haram because the moon of the Ramadan month was sighted, so we wanted to come back and perform the Umrah during the month of Ramadan. So on the first day we came here, and right after Maghrib we went back, so that was the start of the month of Ramadan. The first Umrah we performed was on a day of Jumah, and we drove from Taif to Makkah in the morning. We should have left earlier because it is very difficult to find parking, and all the spots get filled out and the roads get closed real quickly. As it gets closer to the Jumah time, you are unable to move forward and the roads are blocked for humans as well, so there's human traffic control as well. Also in the daytime it's really hot, so it's better to go in the nighttime. The next two times we performed Umrah was both during the nighttime, and it was a lot cooler and more comfortable, so definitely would recommend in the nighttime.
الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
There are three main floors that you can use to make tawaf around, and as you get to the ground floor the distance is a lot shorter because as you are circling and moving outward, the distance that you are actually walking to make one tawaf is increasing. But keep in mind that on the ground floors it's a lot more crowded than it is on the first floor than it is on the roof level. So on the roof it's very spacious but slower because the distance is a lot longer, so it's more comfortable for families and wheelchair users. On the first floor I did get hit a few times with wheelchairs and strollers from kids. But on the ground floor where we are right now, it is extremely crowded and you will get pushed and shoved by people and by groups as well, because oftentimes groups tend to walk together and they don't want to get split up, so they do end up pushing and shoving. So you just have to bear patience and keep that in mind while you are trying to make your way. When you arrive at the Masjid al-Haram for Umrah, one of the first challenges you'll notice is the crowd system around the gates leading to the mataf. So usually during busy times, especially after prayers or on weekends, many of the main gates that open directly to the mataf get temporarily closed to control the flow of people. And security teams stand at the entrances, and sometimes you'll see that a gate is open for a few minutes, letting a wave of pilgrims enter and then closing it again to prevent overcrowding near the kaaba. So this is completely normal and it is part of the crowd management systems that keeps everyone safe. However, you really have to plan ahead and go early if you're trying to catch any of the prayers. And bear patience if you find that a gate is blocked, because that does happen quite frequently, making you walk a lot more distance than you would have expected to. The very first thing you should do when starting tawaf is find the green light on the wall that marks the exact starting point. But I'll be honest, it's extremely easy to get disoriented. There are so many gates and exits around the mataf and hardly any of them are labeled clearly. So even telling someone where you are is difficult. And honestly, anyone spending so much time, money and effort to come all the way here should take a little bit of time to learn the steps of Umrah properly. Learn the rulings, learn how to do each part the right way so that your worship is correct and accepted, and so that you're not just blindly following someone else in case you get lost. For our group, we decided that if anyone got separated, we would all meet at the Safa Marwa area, because trying to search for someone in the middle of a massive crowd will completely break your concentration and disturb your own worship. So coming in prepared, knowing what to do, and having a plan, it all helps you focus on what matters: the worship, the dua, and the peace of being in front of the kaaba. When you come for Umrah, one of the most important things to understand is that Tawaf is an act of worship, just like Salah. Because of that, you really shouldn't be recording while doing Tawaf. Any of these clips you're seeing were recorded after or before the Tawaf. One of the biggest challenge is respecting other people's space and rights, especially in a place where realistically most people will not respect yours. People will push, they will bump into you, and that's just the nature of the crowd. When you're doing tawaf, you'll notice that some areas are naturally more crowded than others. If you see a heavy crowd starting to form, it's always better to gently move yourself away from that section. Preserving safety, calmness, and respect for others is more important than trying to stay in one spot. And remember, pushing or shoving other people, even unintentionally, can harm someone, and harming another pilgrim is much greater sin than anything you might be trying to gain by staying in that crowd. It's important to know that it is not fard to touch any part of the kaaba during Tawaf, Umrah or Hajj. These things are optional and many people don't realize that. So we really shouldn't put ourselves or others at risk just to touch the walls or the black stone from inside a crowd. Your worship is completely valid without it. The goal is to perform Tawaf with peace, dignity, and consideration for everyone around you. This is Makam Ibrahim, or the Station of Abraham, a small golden structure that houses the stone where Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, is believed to have stood while building the Kaaba. You can still see the print of his footsteps inside. After completing the Tawaf, it is sunnah to pray 2 rakats behind Makam Ibrahim, but because this area becomes extremely crowded, it's perfectly fine and sometimes even better to pray anywhere in the masjid where it's safe and calm. All around the masjid, you'll find Zam Zam water stations. They're clean, chilled, and constantly refilled. These stations can get busy, so just wait patiently and avoid crowding. There's plenty of water for everyone. When you begin sa'i between Safa and Marwa, you'll see that the area is spread across multiple levels. First floor has light slopes going up and down, while the second floor is completely flat and even, which many people find easier for walking and for wheelchairs. The full sa'i is about 3.5 kilometer or like 2.2 miles and usually takes about 1 hour depending on the pace. There are dedicated lanes for wheelchairs on every level, making the entire journey smooth and accessible. Along the sa'i path between Safa and Marwa, you'll notice a section marked by bright green lights overhead. This area represents the place where Hijr, peace be upon her, ran between the hills while searching for water for her son Ismail, peace be upon him. Following her example, men lightly jog through this green lit section as part of the sunnah, while women continue walking normally. After you finish Safa and Marwa, be prepared for a long walk before you actually exit the masjid. The Grand Mosque is massive, and depending on which level you're on, the walk back to the main halls or escalators can be several minutes. The bathrooms are very far along the outer edges of the mosque, and during peak hours, all bathrooms can get busy, so it's helpful to plan ahead and use them before starting Tawaf or sa'i.
So here they're just giving away some tea and dates.
The Grand Mosque is busy day and night with tens of thousands of people from all walks of life. This journey tests our patience, tolerance, and respect for others.